Welcome back. Today's video obviously is not going to be pertaining to engine performance or anything like that. Most of my viewers that have been part of this channel are accustomed to. Today we're getting back into the bait building. This morning, approximately an hour ago, Marlin Baits released a new episode. And he's one of the better builders out on YouTube. And I appreciate all of the different years that he has been creating baits, even to the point where today's video, he shared a local builder here for the state of Wisconsin within Roger from H2O Tackle. But one of the first baits I ever got was a Marlin bait. When it came to larger fishing lures that were custom hand built. This is one of two that I own. 2016, obviously, so he's been around for quite a while. His paint jobs are immaculate, okay? Very good artist. His ability to carve out wood and get things to swim in the water is outstanding. In today's video, Nate from Marlin Baits shared a lure built by H2O Tackle Roger. Not this specific lure, but something similar to it. It was a flap tail variation. The model he shared in his video was only offered for a very short time. It was a small batch lure build. Roger has been commercialized since that point. Everything that he used to make out of wood years ago, he has now transitioned into this specific plastic body type lure. And he makes about 24 different lures mimicked off of this shape. This continuous still mimics that flap tail, but instead of making contact with the screw, it makes contact with the body. And it is a surface lure, so depending on where you put this weight, the lure will actually lay on its side, mimicking a slow retrieve wake bait, something that will twist and turn on the lure and lay on its side, or it can be pulled in a straight retrieve and allow the blade to actually make contact to get noise. Again, you can switch this weight around to the opposite side right here and switch this spoon to any other location. You'll notice that the white dots, those are also areas where you can drill in to put more hook hangers to make it mimic a rise and dive. So Roger has, let's say, perfected the art of being a commercial fishing lure shape that can fit multiple different lure descriptions. Along with today's lure, or today's video from Marlin Baits, he went out and created his own smaller variation of the flap tail. Using the brass casing of a smaller pistol caliber filled with little BBs, he gets the sound and the noise along with the knocking or the contact noise between the spinner and the bullet casing. That is something I've practiced for many years. I believe Nate and I started building muskie size lures, or larger than normal size lures, at approximately the same time, approximately in the mid 2000s, 2010 to 2012. So it's been a challenge to basically see his videos and to create something above and beyond Nate. Now, as a YouTube creator, Nate has a lot more subscribers than I do. My channel is not intended to draw any kind of monetization money, so on and so forth. Nate is actually doing that for a job right now. So his content is excellent. I just want to say that, but because of that traditional, trying to top your competition, I've created all kinds of different lures. Now, one of the most recent builds from last week was the Whopper Plopper that Nate was also trying to build. This is something I built about a year ago, well, about 2 years ago now. You'll notice that the Enola Gay, I believe it's called, the little boy, this is mimicking the actual atomic bomb that was dropped on, I believe it was Hiroshima. And it is constructed in a flap tail design. You know, it's the different angles and stuff that are included with the bend of the tail. That's all there to drive the actual tail when it's in the water and create that ploppy noise. So this portion of it actually creates the plop, and this portion drives the tail within the water. For approximately 10 years, I've been building things that mimic military equipment. So whether that's airplanes, helicopters, to actual ships, to ammunition, I've tried to build everything that's basically on a poster that I have in my home. All of the equipment used during Desert Storm, everything that the DOD had within its possession, I've turned into a fishing lure. Once I completed approximately, I think there was 175 pieces, I turned over to making things from movies. So I started creating stuff from Star Wars, Star Trek, so on and so forth. And again, I'm an individual custom builder, kind of like Nate. I will pick an idea, turn it into a fishing lure, and it's not necessarily for sale or to, you know, be mass produced to create and be sold to everyone. It's the challenge and the enjoyment out of making fishing lures. So with that being said, the latest series from Nate is that he is mail ordering or picking up at local fishing shows older lures. And like I stated, the one he had in his video today was from Roger from H2O. I believe that version came out in approximately 2010, 2012. Before Roger switched over to the plastic bodies. That's when he actually carved stuff out of wood. Now, there is another fisherman here in the state of Wisconsin from the Rhinelander area. Many of you probably know, if you are in the muskie community, is Greg Nimmer from Nimmer Swimmers Fishing Lures. His Wally Pog is a very popular bait that he has made for over 30 years. He is also an individual that likes to experiment with different kinds of configurations, whether it be flap tails, spinners, so on and so forth. He's fairly unique. The most impressive thing about Greg is that he doesn't use machinery like saws and that to create his lure shapes. He actually uses a large machete. So if Nate, if you get a chance to watch this, check out Greg Nimmer from Nimmer Swimmers. He has multiple videos online also. And he goes into his history of how he created the first Wally Pog. Again, carving basswood with a hatchet. Okay, you know, blade next to fingers. He still has all his fingers. He's also a drummer, musician, so you know, his extremities are a little bit more important than just making fishing lures. So out of that, I have a little bit of a challenge. Nothing that, you know, I'm expected to occur. But Nate, I know you have built some extravagant lures. Even the ones that you're making now after older editions. If you ever get the chance to travel north from your home state into the state of Wisconsin, or visit the Freshwater Hall of Fame in Hayward, Wisconsin, there's a gentleman that lives about 2 miles down Highway 70 from Hayward that has over 10,000 fishing lures, not only for muskie, but they're all hard body antique type fishing lures. So out of the approximately 2,000 that you're going to observe at the Freshwater Hall of Fame, this individual has stuff that is one-off. Okay, so he's got stuff that majority of us, or even on Google, you're not going to find copies of it. They're all organized within drawers. So any specific action or type of lure, whether it be a surface lure or crankbait, he has them categorized perfectly within the drawers. It would cause any bait builder to get all kinds of ideas of what to build next. Now the challenge that I'm giving Nate, so this is directly towards Marling baits, is that the most recent build that I have is going back to that military style build. Now, while you can obviously carve out a single lure with confidence and quality, I'm challenging you to create something that you can carry with you out to every fishing spot that has both the lure and the tackle box in one. So this variation here, for anybody that's following along with my Facebook pages, again, I'm not monetized. I don't do it on a regular basis. This is mimicking the Iowa class submarine. So again, with the 4 sections that you see here, the center sections are actually hollow to store fishing lures as a tackle box. The lure itself, yes, it's a 16-inch piece, is actually meant for fishing larger bodies of water for muskie. But you can take apart each one of these individual sections and they create another lure. So as in the back section here, when this piece is taken apart, it mimics the back section of a flap tail. So that is what I'm adding next, is a single bladed tail like this, actually 4 blades, so it mimics an actual submarine. That can come apart and you can fish this section alone. Now this shape idea is coming from, again, the Whopper Plopper style variation. There's another bait builder in the Turtle Lake Flammable Flowage area of Wisconsin. Any of you muskie fishermen are aware of this individual, Lake X fishing lures, whether it be the flap tails or their soft plastic toads. They're very common in the north woods of Wisconsin for targeting muskie. So this variation portion of the tail and the leading edge are actually 2 different variations of the Lake X variation of a flap tail. This section will have the 4 blades like a submarine. The front half will actually be a flap tail. The 2 center sections that can be divided or supplemented in to shrink the lure down can actually be used as a fishing lure itself. So right now it's in the 16-inch variation. If you eliminate this and attach it to this end, it becomes a 10-inch muskie lure. Almost 3 inches in diameter. But something that Nate carries around his little backpack with all of his different lures that he's going to test out at the lakes or at the ponds. Why not just create a tackle box, a portable tackle box that can also be used as a fishing lure? So that's my challenge. So Nate, creating a military craft of some kind, whether it be an aircraft carrier or a battleship, a submarine, anything like that, that you can convert into a fishing lure in the size that it actually can store a fishing lure inside of it, is the challenge. Let's see if you can do it. Now, one of the other variations that I have in a submarine variation like this is the walker. So not only does the walker can be used in a solid state form as the lumber that I have in my hand now, it also has a coiled portion that can be attached to a tail. So once again, a hard head, soft tail type lure in a walker variation. This actually fits without the tail inside of the submarine. So again, it's a tackle box, but it can also store smaller lures in one large lure / tackle box. So with that idea, that's the challenge. Nate is trying to challenge himself by duplicating older lures. He has very extravagant lures out there, whether it's fish with 1.5-inch long teeth to airplanes himself. It wasn't one of his best builds, but airplanes. And he's put on series about 1-day builds where he can go out into the outdoors, pick up a piece of wood, whittle it out, and actually catch a fish with it. He's literally caught fish with a square block of wood. That's easy when the pond is fed and full of thousands of different fish, Nate. But to go out to your ditch area to go fishing for some of the larger toothy critters like northern pike. Let's see you build a military device that can catch a northern pike. That is something that's going to be, much more difficult and challenging to you. Even to the extent, I have built lures, again, probably not on this feed. If you go to my YouTube channel called Approaching, it's not Approaching Target. Can't think of what it is now. It's been over a year since I've looked at it. If you look up Tank Lure on YouTube, you'll find it. Or if you go to Facebook to American Handmade Lures, you're going to see the step process of the type of lures I built, whether it's the Millennium Falcon from Star Wars to the USS Enterprise aircraft carrier or the spaceship from Star Trek. You also see the Sherman tank build that I built about 2 years ago. It did work. It was sold in auction. That's what I do with most of mine, is that I actually donate them to local veterans groups or fishing groups to allow them to auction them off to raise a little bit of funds for whatever activities they find important. So those lures are very rare. They're collector items in this region. So with that, that's the challenge that I'm sending out to Nate at Marling Baits. Obviously, he's been somebody I've been following along for a long time. Just a progression of artists building their tools and sharing their different things. I would like to see if he can create something similar to this and his take on things. The only limitation you have with building fishing lures is your imagination. You can turn anything into a fishing lure. If you have a picture or an actual fish that you're duplicating, okay, it's a little bit easier to mimic the shape and so on and so forth. But to take an inanimate object that is not intended for the water, like a spaceship, and turn it into a fishing lure, it takes a lot of expertise. It takes a lot of experience and experimentation to get the right swim action, so on and so forth. So with that, this video is specifically for Nate. If you are part of this channel and we're looking forward to auto mechanic type stuff, all I can tell you is right now that I'm building a motorcycle for my son, a little 50cc. It's 3/4 of the way through being finished, a little crotch rocket. So with that, between all the other activities that have going on around home nowadays, I haven't been able to find time to necessarily work on fishing lures, but with the warmer weather coming out right now, I'm able to get some of the tools out, open the garage doors, and enjoy the outdoors. And yesterday was the Southern Wisconsin fishing opener. So getting ready to head out this week, see if the fish are biting. And speaking of Roger from H2O Tackle, this is his Orton fishing lure. I have yet to catch a muskie on this lure. So that's my goal for this year. Last year I only gave it about 3 chances without success. So basically I want to catch something on this before I start to mimic something into a smaller variation. Like smaller flaptails. Okay, so with that, hopefully you're enjoying the nicer weather. Catch you guys later.